According to the National Study of Millionaires, 79% of American millionaires are self-made. They didn't inherit wealth. They didn't win the lottery. They simply think and live differently. Meanwhile, many in the middle class continue to work hard, save every penny, and still live with a constant sense of unease, worrying about bills, rising living costs, or whether they'll have enough to retire. You may have found yourself wondering, I haven't done anything wrong, so why am I still not getting ahead? The answer doesn't lie in luck. It lies in your daily financial habits. This video won't promise you instant wealth, but it will offer 6 practical principles used by the wealthy every single day to help you build lasting financial freedom, long-term health, and emotional resilience. Principle 1. Don't blame, take ownership. In the pursuit of success and financial stability, there is one critical starting point that most wealthy individuals share. They don't blame others. Not because their lives are free of problems, but because they've chosen a different mindset, the mindset of ownership. John, a 45-year-old engineer, used to believe that his stalled career was due to his difficult boss, the overly competitive job market, or even, oddly enough, the unfair Facebook algorithm. Every time he failed, he found an external reason to explain it. That changed the day he read a psychological study about the locus of control, a concept referring to who or what we believe controls our lives. And suddenly, he saw it clearly. The more we blame, the more power we give away. Wealthy people understand this deeply. They don't deny the reality of external forces, the economy, tax policies, even societal bias. But instead of complaining, they ask themselves, what can I do differently? That single question becomes the starting point of every breakthrough. Where others stop and make excuses, the wealthy find a way forward. If an investment fails, they don't blame the market. They re-examine their strategy. If work isn't going well, they reassess their skills or the environment they're in. Most importantly, they turn those experiences into action. A skill to improve, a habit to change, a plan to refine. This mindset of ownership not only accelerates progress, it builds emotional resilience. When you believe you have influence over the outcome, you begin to act. And when action is repeated long enough, it becomes a habit, the kind of habit that success is built upon. This isn't about intelligence or degrees. It's about a daily choice in how you think. A middle-aged person under financial pressure might be tempted to say, everything's just too expensive nowadays. But someone with an ownership mindset might instead ask, can I revisit my budget? Learn a new skill? Am I truly optimizing my income and expenses? The path to wealth, happiness, and emotional freedom doesn't begin with some massive life change. It begins with a small shift in how you respond to life. And that shift starts with you, not anyone else.
Principle 2. Saving alone won't make you rich. Many people believe that saving enough will automatically lead to financial security. But the truth is, without a clear plan, saving won't make you rich. In fact, it might even leave you falling behind. Maria, a 52-year-old nurse, used to keep cash in a shoebox under her bed. Every month, she'd tuck away a small portion of her paycheck, hoping it would become a safety net for the future. But then inflation soared. Living expenses rose sharply, and within just a few years, her savings had lost significant value. Wealthy people don't just save, they save in the right order. They don't rush into investments while still carrying credit card debt. They don't spend freely before building an emergency fund. Because they understand, financial freedom doesn't come from the amount you save, but from how well you manage your cash flow and protect yourself from risk. Someone can save diligently for decades and still feel financially insecure if they don't have a roadmap. Without clear direction, it's easy to feel stuck. Should you keep saving, start investing, or just spend it? This lack of clarity leads to wasted time, missed opportunities, and unnecessary anxiety. The solution isn't complicated. Establish your financial priorities in this order. 1. Pay off high-interest debt, especially credit cards, which quietly drain your income each month. 2. Build an emergency fund, enough to cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses, so you won't spiral into crisis if you lose your job or face a medical emergency. And 3. Start investing. Only after your foundation is stable should you focus on growing your wealth. After realizing the flaw in her approach, Maria turned to a free budgeting tool from the IRS to completely reassess her financial plan. That one simple step gave her clarity, where she stood, how long it would take to reach financial safety, and when she'd be truly ready to invest. The message here is clear. Not everyone who saves becomes wealthy, but those who build wealth always know exactly what they're doing, why they're doing it, and when to take the next step. It's this intentional, strategic mindset that creates lasting wealth, not just in dollars, but in peace of mind.
Principle 3. Environment matters more than willpower. There's a truth most people only realize after repeated failure. Willpower is not something you can rely on forever. Ken, a 38-year-old IT professional, had made a promise to himself. He would cut back on watching TV at night. Just 30 minutes tonight, he'd tell himself every evening. But then, the screen would light up. The couch felt a little too comfortable, and before he knew it, it was 1 a.m. Ken would still be there. What started as a bit of light entertainment had spiraled into hours of gaming and binge-watching. Ken wasn't lazy. He wasn't lacking motivation. The problem wasn't him. The problem was his environment. An environment where good habits were hard to maintain and bad habits were far too easy. The wealthy understand this well. They don't force themselves to stay disciplined every day. Instead, they engineer their environment so that good habits happen naturally. They hide the TV remote or remove the TV from the bedroom entirely. They silence phone notifications when they need to focus. They place the book they're reading right on the table instead of buried under clutter. It's these tiny choices that create huge outcomes. Because when the right behavior becomes easier, you don't need to grit your teeth to do the right thing. According to a study from Duke University, over 40% of our daily actions are habits, not conscious decisions. In other words, you don't need iron discipline to succeed. You just need to build an environment where the right habits become your default. And this principle applies everywhere: finances, health, and career. If you want to save more money, don't depend on willpower to stop spending. Cancel the shopping apps. Remove your saved credit cards from your browser. Set up automatic transfers so 10 to 20% of your paycheck goes straight into savings the moment it hits your account. If you want to be healthier, don't wait for motivation to hit before you work out. Set a schedule. Set your alarm. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Pick simple routines you can do consistently. You're not failing because you lack discipline. You're just trying to do the right thing in an environment that keeps pulling you back to the wrong ones. So don't ask yourself to be stronger. Start by making the right actions easier. Change your environment before demanding that you change yourself. That's how wealthy people sustain positive habits, not through brute force, but through smart, intentional strategy. Principle 4. Take care of your health, because being rich means nothing if you're sick. During a local TV interview in Ohio, Linda, a retired high school teacher, shared a story that left many people speechless. "I spent 10 years building up my savings, and just one hospital stay wiped out nearly all of it. Worst of all, you can't buy your health back." Linda's words weren't just a personal anecdote. They reflect a painful truth that many middle-aged and older Americans are quietly living. Without your health, everything you've built financially becomes meaningless. What's most unfortunate is that we often only start paying attention to our health once it begins to decline. We work tirelessly, save every dollar, invest in real estate and stocks, yet neglect the most important investment of all, our body and mind. The wealthy think differently. They know health isn't a cost, it's a long-term, high-return investment. They don't wait until illness strikes to make a change. They take action before the crisis hits. They maintain a clean, balanced diet. They treat exercise as a non-negotiable part of their daily routine. They prioritize quality sleep as a key pillar of success. And the reason they do it isn't out of fear of disease. It's because they understand what's at stake. Chronic illnesses like diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease don't just shorten lifespans. They erode your freedom, drain your energy, and chip away at your financial stability little by little, year after year. Every greasy meal, every late night, every skipped workout adds up to an invisible cost, a cost that eventually becomes painfully visible and expensive. But here's the good news. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Even small changes done consistently can make a big difference. Simple actions like exercising 3 to 4 times a week with easy routines like brisk walking, yoga, or light weights. Limiting takeout by prepping quick 15 to 20-minute meals at home. A recent study by the National Institute of Nutrition showed that people who reduced eating out to less than twice a week had a 25% lower risk of cardiovascular disease. And this benefit was especially strong for those aged 40 and above, when health naturally begins to decline unless cared for intentionally. But the true reward of taking care of your health isn't just a longer life. It's the ability to fully enjoy the life you worked so hard to build. No one dreams of retiring with a full bank account, only to be too weak to travel, pursue passions, or even play with their grandchildren. True financial freedom isn't just having money. It's having health, independence, and the ability to do what you love at any age. And to achieve that, taking care of your health isn't a luxury. It's a responsibility you owe yourself, starting today.
Principle 5. Smart saving. Don't live cheap. Steve often gets teased by his friends whenever they go shopping together, all because he always brings coupons, hunts for cashback offers, and carefully compares prices before making a purchase. Many call him stingy, but Steve just smiles and says, "I don't save money because I'm broke. I save money because I want to spend it where it matters." At first glance, it might sound like a simple remark, but behind that sentence is a powerful mindset, a mindset that many wealthy people live by every day. Knowing how to save wisely without living cheap. When it comes to personal spending, there's a critical distinction that most people overlook. Being frugal is strategic. Being cheap is short-sighted. Smart savers focus on long-term value. They're willing to spend more on something that's high quality, durable, and efficient because they know it will save them time, money, and frustration in the long run. On the other hand, cheap spenders chase the lowest price at all costs, even if it means sacrificing quality, having to replace the item repeatedly, or worse, damaging their health and peace of mind. Let's look at a simple real-life example. You buy a pair of shoes for $100 and use them 100 times. That's $1 per use. Now let's say you go for a $20 pair instead. Sounds like a bargain, but if they fall apart after just 3 wears, that's over $6.60 per use. The cheaper option ends up costing you far more. This is the trap many fall into, thinking they're saving money when in reality they're silently wasting it. So how do you spend wisely without being wasteful or falling into the trap of being cheap? Ask yourself the right questions before you buy. How long will this item actually last? What's the real cost per use? Do I genuinely need this? If the answers make sense, then go ahead. Use coupons. Take advantage of cashback programs. Wait for sales. These aren't things to be ashamed of. They're signs that you respect the value of your money. In fact, a published study revealed that over 90% of millionaires in the US use coupons when they shop. Not because they can't afford to pay full price, but because they understand the power of spending with intention. They don't chase the cheapest option. They don't get lured by flashy, limited-time deals or massive discounts. They buy only when they know they're getting maximum value for their dollar. The wealthy don't hesitate to pay for real value. They just don't let themselves get fooled by things that merely look cheap. And it's that kind of clarity that helps them preserve wealth, while many others quietly bleed money through 1,000 small, careless decisions. Saving smart doesn't mean sacrificing your quality of life. On the contrary, it's a strategy, a way of living that helps you build stability, both financially and emotionally, for the long haul.
Principle 6. Don't let the government hold your money for you. For over 15 years as an accountant in New Jersey, Nancy always looked forward to April. That was when she typically received a tax refund from the IRS, around $3,000 every year. To Nancy, it felt like a surprise bonus, extra cash she could use for vacation, buy something nice, or just set aside for a special occasion. But one day, during a financial planning session with a client, something hit her. While she was advising others on how to optimize their cash flow, she had a harsh realization of her own. That refund she looked forward to wasn't a bonus. It wasn't a gift. It was her own money, withheld by the government for an entire year, earning zero interest and silently losing value to inflation. She felt stunned. As a seasoned accountant, she'd unknowingly given up control of her own cash flow, something the wealthy make a point never to do. The truth is, wealthy individuals don't celebrate large tax refunds. In fact, they see them as a warning sign. If you're getting a big refund, you're likely letting too much of your money sit idle, missing out on growth opportunities. Instead of waiting until the end of the year to get their money back, they take a smarter route. They keep their money from the start and put it to work with intention. Here's how they do it, usually in 2 simple steps. Step 1. They adjust their W-4 form, the document that determines how much tax is withheld from each paycheck. By keeping this form updated based on actual income and family circumstances, they avoid overpaying on taxes. That means more cash in hand each month instead of waiting for a refund check in April. Step 2. They maximize contributions to tax-advantaged accounts like 401ks, IRAs, or HSAs. These not only reduce taxable income so you owe less in taxes, but also help grow long-term wealth, supporting retirement, healthcare, and key financial goals. The benefits of keeping your money in your hands are obvious. You have more cash flow each month, you can pay down debt faster, you can start investing sooner and seize opportunities before others. Rather than feeling excited about getting a few $1,000s back in April, you could be using that money now to reduce stress, increase income, and grow your net worth. Every dollar you let the government hold too long is a missed opportunity. And on the road to financial freedom, cash flow management is non-negotiable. Remember this, your money should be working for you, not sitting still, waiting to be returned. And you can start making that shift with your very next paycheck. We've now covered 6 everyday principles that the wealthy consistently apply. They may seem simple, but over time they create extraordinary results. You don't need to come from a wealthy family to get started. You just need to think, act, and live with direction. The difference isn't where you start, it's in the choices you make day after day. If this video resonated with you, share it with someone who needs a fresh beginning. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content on how to build financial freedom, lasting health, and a resilient mindset, especially after 35.